Communications office or talk to your local high school guidance counselor. Charter Communications, we're more than just your cable company.
Six, seven. Check. Are you ready for stats, Dave? Oh, yeah.
His 11:40 to go. Georgia Tech leads at 33-20. Tony Akins continues to do the job. We're back in St. Louis after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
One of the coolest things about Rocky was how he did his training. Untraditional methods. Where he'd be pounding on pot roast, drinking raw egg smoothies, chasing a chicken, all that crazy stuff to make himself tougher. That'd be fit for sequels. Ford F-150, built to last.
And a couple of hard-working coaching staffs here. What do you do when everything you try some days and nothing works?
Well, one thing you can do, since the game started at noon, you can say, you know what, about 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to roll them up and practice again if this thing doesn't get better. That's one of the things that will always get young people's attention is you take away their Saturday night plans. Mention that in a huddle, and the game goes to a whole nother level sometimes.
A little motivation, eh?
Just a little. You know what? It's National Salute Day. So you got Billiken fans all across the country gathered in Chicago, Milwaukee, Kansas City watching this ball game. So our best goes out to you. Hopefully you got good food in front of you right now because the offense is not there for your club to get excited about. National Salute Day.
Alston Lane right side. And on the drive of Clarence Moore, a St. Louis foul. Looks like Chris Brown, that'll be his second. St. Louis University, a Jesuit school of 11,000 here in St. Louis. Really great academic standards. Georgia Tech dominates in the paint with their big fellows today.
That's a little bit unusual because Georgia Tech, their top 4 scorers are perimeter people.
A couple of schools that are similar in their respect. They're both very, very strong academically. And that can present some recruiting challenges for Paul Hewitt and Lorenzo Romar. Quite frankly, there are some kids that simply cannot get in to Georgia Tech and St. Louis U to play basketball because of the academics.
Talk about Paul Hewitt's early signing class and the great one he's got, the kid out of Dallas named Bosch, but Lorenzo Romar did some damage as well. Ryan Hollins out of Muir High School in California, 6'11" kid, and Nick Kearns from right here in St. Louis, Vashon High School. That's those are 2 guys who will come in and get a lot of minutes next year for Lorenzo Romar.
Marquis Perry with a half dozen, all since halftime. Yeah, Vashon has been a wonderful traditional basketball power here in the St. Louis Public League.
St. Louis practiced about 3 weeks ago. Probably the best athlete on the floor was a kid named Floyd McLean, who's redshirted this year. He's out with back problems, but he's a very athletic kid.
That was Halston Lane with a 3 for Georgia Tech, and they lead by 15, 37-22. That is their largest lead.
Halston Lane, another kid, half of his makes, Bob, on the year from the 3-point line. That's all you need to say in the scouting report. When he catches it, make him bounce the basketball.
Perry a turnover, then he fouls Tony Akins. Second half here in St. Louis, and let's check in with John Saunders.
And our wide world of sports speed pass update. Boston College and UConn. BC down by 2. Troy Bell going for the game tire, but he gets tipped away. And Talik Brown gets the loose ball. UConn wins in overtime.
Thank you, John. I don't think any of us expected Boston College to be 6-6 in conference play in the middle of February after the start they got off to.
Yep.
Fourth turnover a moment ago by Marquis Perry. Akins tries to make it hurt and does. And Tony Akins with his first basket second half. That gives him 14 on the day.
Man, he's tough to defend. I mean, he beats you off the bounce and moves well without the basketball when he gives it up and assumes the role of the 2 guard in the lineup. has a really quick release. I mean, he had to develop it early because he's so small. And he knew that I've got to always get myself open, and he does it well.
Marquis Perry trying to force his way in, getting a foul called.
Watch Aiken catch his basketball. Boom, it's caught and shot. Just boom, just like that. It was a terrific pass. He didn't have to reach high or reach low for it. Passer delivered that basketball right about where it says Georgia on it, so he just caught it, and it was there. A lot of passers don't understand the responsibility.
Marquis Perry, a good free throw shooter, just under 80%. He's got 7 on the day now. St. Louis will sub for the shooter momentarily with Randy Pulley. Ed Nelson is at the table for Georgia Tech. So Marquis had a good second half with all 8 of his points. He'll get a breather. 9:34 to go, 40-24. Georgia Tech out of the ACC.
The only question in the ACC right now in my mind is who is the 3rd best team in that league. Because Duke and Maryland are at another level. Look at Wake Forest right now, NC State, Virginia. I mean, they're trying to figure out who's the number 3 seed in that thing going in.
Yeah, Virginia has probably teased us the most out of those 3.
Yeah, they have. You're right.
Lane, another 3. How about Halston Lane? 3-time ACC Rookie of the Week as a freshman last year. A streak shooter, and I think he's on a pretty good streak right now. He really hasn't shot the ball that well this year, but he's come in and knocked down 2 threes. And Georgia Tech is ahead by 19. Way short with that 3, Jason Edwin. Georgia Tech rebound cleared off there by Robert Brooks. Nice look down to the baseline. And a tough runner on the baseline. Tony Akins giving that ball off to Marvin Lewis, who got mugged.
But you saw on that play right there, when you force Akins to go right, he's not comfortable or confident to go all the way to the rim. When he goes right, he's looking to pass that ball. And that's a hard foul on that elbow, isn't it?
Marvin Lewis out of Germantown, Maryland, played at Montrose Christian High School. And the thing about his all-ACC freshman selection last year, he was also an all-academic ACC kid. Major as yet undeclared. A lot of the Georgia Tech basketball players major in management. B.J. Elder will come back in. Here's a good look at Marvin, a 6'4", 200 sophomore who has started every game in his 2 years.
How about Marvin Lewis? In 2 years, he's missed 15 free throws total in 2 years.
Way under his average of 12 today. Those were his first 2 points. But you saw that good touch he has from the line. 45-24. So Tech adds 10 more onto the lead with that 14-4 run.
Watch the screen for St. Louis. The shooter coming off the screen is getting in too big of a hurry, Bob. You'd rather be late than early in that situation. That's the one time in a ball game that the coach is not going to mind you being about a half step slow, is when you're the guy receiving the screen.
Tough shot, won't go. Kenny Brown. St. Louis 1 and out most of the day. Georgia Tech's interior defense has really been good. They have totally quieted down this crowd on a Saturday afternoon. Nelson losing it and then committing a foul, and that'll be number 4 on Ed Nelson. Sunday night at 8 Eastern, catch The Season Behind Bars Part 2, followed by Pardon the Interruption, Sports Century 81 and Sidelines LA Hoops, presented by Gatorade. It's what we call The Block. ESPN original entertainment starting at 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday night. Some very important television for you on Sunday evening. Log on to ESPN.com for more on The Block, college hoops, anything you need to know about the world of sports here in February. Diener needs some shots from him. It's getting awful late for the Billikens. Stop cold, Kenny Brown on the floor, and a timeout. Great hustle there by Halston Lane. He comes off the bench and knocks down a couple of threes, gets a steal, gets a timeout.
Man, Georgia Tech, you know, they came in off of games against Duke and Maryland, so they were foaming at the mouth to begin this one.
45-24, Georgia Tech leads it. And that's what Jimmy talking about. Once you get past the first 2 in the ACC, there's a bit of a drop off there.
Well, I still think that's probably the 5 that will end up fighting their way in because their schedule strength has been good. They've had some good non-quality wins in that league, but it is top heavy. Duke and Maryland going at it tomorrow. You look right now at Maryland. In the ACC, they're #1 in rebound margin, assists a game, blocks a game. Their assist-turnover ratio is better than anybody else in the league. Their three-point shooting is on top, and their field goal defense. Flip the page over, look at Duke and their resume. They're #1 in the ACC in turnover margin, three-pointers made, steals a game, scoring 93 points a ball game, and they shoot 51% as a field as a team. Them in Kansas right now are flat out shooting that basketball in conference play, and that's why if you want to put a wager on somebody getting to Atlanta, start with Duke and Kansas and then kind of fill in from there. Right now, the way they're playing, if they stay healthy.
Pulley driving, dishing, Schenscher with the deflection, and now we've got the under 8-minute timeout. 7:24 to go. Does St. Louis have any kind of run in them? They better find out quick.
So what do you play?
Tenor sax.
I play a bad guitar myself.
Yeah?
I mean bad in the bad sense.
As long as you enjoy it.
You make a good living?
Well, I do what I love. In the 43 countries.
43?
Yeah.
You want to take next year off? Well, no, I know you, Bob. I know you're serious.
Check this out. I'm going to lunch.
Well, it's not like we didn't anticipate this. Listen, let me talk to your accountant about the tax implications. We'll go from there.
That stock sector could have gone up or down hard. It was just too risky for you.
Thanks for the heads up on that one.
Sure. So how's your dad doing?
Well, that's what I really wanted to talk to you about.
Right now, get out there and get in a new Ford because your local Ford store is with great deals at America's #1 choice. Now take up to $2,500 cash back or 0% financing on select Fords. That's $2,500 cash back or 0%. The right.
Three-point shot here in the second half. Leads the way as Tech top of St. Louis 45-24, and it's been in some pretty good company now, Jimmy Dykes, with Travis Best #3 all-time, and then fitting right in there is Tony Akins.
Some good lefties have come through that program, haven't they?
Yes, sir.
Tony Akins, Kenny Anderson, Travis Best. Akins is a kid, and look at Dennis Scott. You talk about a guy who could flat out score. About 6'5", just jump up and shoot over the top of you, but this kid here is really crafty. He's only made 1 out of his last 11 three-pointers coming in, primarily because of Duke and Maryland on the schedule. Two clubs that take away your strength as well as anyone in the country.
Travis Best and Dennis Scott each 2,000 points plus. Most schools don't have more than 1 or 2 guys. Georgia Tech has 6 that have eclipsed 2,000 points. Pulley goes right at Tech, and it looks like Akins with the foul, and for Tony, that will be his 3rd. Tony, of course, up there in assists as well, with 522 coming in, #5. Their all-time leader, Drew Barry, who had 724, and Travis Best, the great three-point shooter, he was their #2 all-time assist man.
Well, Georgia Tech's now 467 consecutive games that they've made a three-pointer. UNLV, Vanderbilt, and Princeton are the only schools that have made a three-point shot ever since the rule went into effect in 1986. Did you know that?
I knew there were a few, and a couple that had never failed to hit one. That's really something.
You'd expect that out of Vanderbilt and Princeton, but I was surprised with UNLV. They've made a three-pointer in every game since that rule in '86. St. Louis, Bob, with more turnovers, 16, and made field goals, 8. That is a glaring sign that you had problems during the ball game.
Akins drills it. Tony Akins with 17. He had 24 with 8 assists against Maryland, a 28-point game against the Tar Heels. Brown drains it left side. Chris Brown, first field goal of the day. 6:20 to go. 48-28, Georgia Tech. Lewis for Schenscher. He'll switch it right side. Akins, little dribble penetration. The double team stops him. Now probing is Robert Brooks, and he just waits for Akins to get back out there to refire it. 10 on the shot clock.
You know, you got to appreciate what Akins has done all year because he's the only senior. He's played with young people on the floor all year long.
How about Halston Lane, the ultimate streak shooter? He comes in off the bench and knocks down 3 in a row. And there's a foul on Marvin Lewis of Georgia Tech.
Let's talk about Akins again, Bob, when he's going left. Now, if you're going to step out and hedge right there, you got to step out and shut that guy down. I mean, you cannot allow him to turn the corner, force him to go the other direction. Then again, there he is making a play going left-handed. You're guarding a shooter in the corner. This situation, it was Halston Lane. You don't help off of a guy like that that's already knocked down a couple of 3 of you from that 3-point line. It's just little things that Lorenzo Romar will point out in a film. I mean, when we hedged on Akins, we didn't really hedge with a purpose. We just kind of stepped out there because the coach told me to do it in the scouting report. Man, you got to do it with purpose behind you. Right now, the guy's lighting you up.
Out there watching him, Josh Fisher. Akins sliding down to the baseline. And he takes a blocking foul from Chris Brown. That'll be his 3rd. Sooners on top. Kansas State giving them a battle in Norman today. Oklahoma number 4 in the nation in this week's poll. That Kentucky-Georgia game will be a dandy. Yeah, 6.5 to go, right down to the wire.
Watch that Georgia club now. They've got a lot of athletes throw at you.
Illinois stepping out of conference to take on the Hall today. And Ohio State, they trailed at halftime. They came back to win in Iowa City.
Our guy probably Boban Savovich was knocking in shots from all over.
Tony Akins with 18 today, looking for his 9th 20-point game of the year eventually. And he's 1 point away. 53-28 at a very quiet and disappointed Savas Center. Brown from the corner. Long with the 3. Rebound, Akins got it on a good hustle play by Robert Brooks.
St. Louis has played this game on their heels about 35 minutes. They have not been the aggressor on the boards in their transition game and defense. In those games that the coaches all huddle up and say, man, we just look like we played in mud. It's the best way to describe it.
John Seifert with his first foul.
Sometimes, Bob, you asked me earlier, what do you do? Sometimes it's one of those games you shake your head and say, what in the world went wrong? Were we not awake? Did we not get him up in time? Did we not do things right to prepare him? And
you start questioning everything.
Start questioning everything when you score 28 points.
NCAA basketball presented by UBS Payne Weber tomorrow. You'll get Big East, Syracuse, and Notre Dame, or Big 12, Texas, and Missouri. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Kareem Rush now starting to get back to making plays going towards the rim himself. He went through about a 2-week stretch where everything he was shooting was a fadeaway jumper. There we go. There's some aggressiveness.
Chris Brown on a good feed by Randy Pulley and a foul. It'll be Robert Brooks with his 2nd. And maybe the best St. Louis possession of the day.
We saw the penetration of the basketball, the draw and the dish, finish.
You know, they've hit some 3s, but as far as running some stuff, that might have been it right there. Back in for Georgia Tech, Marvin Lewis. 55-31 for the Ramblin' Wreck with 4:40 to go. Akins hustles to get an errant pass from Schenscher. And a whistle underneath. Tony Akins drawing fouls on just about everybody. He gets Randy Pulley there.
Tell you what, the ACC and Conference USA since that 1997-98 season, they've had a team at the top of the rankings more than anyone. Duke has been the club for 34 weeks over that period that's been ranked #1 out of the ACC, and Cincinnati, #2 in the nation, they've been sitting up there 12 weeks ranked #1. So, you and I both like Conference USA, and obviously the ACC is always going to be right there as long as Mike Krzyzewski's coaching at Duke. He has set the standard.
Tony Akins missing them both. Had a chance for 20. And we know Carolina will be better next year with some of the young talent Matt Doherty has coming in. Sort of an aberration year in Chapel Hill.
You know what's really scary, though, Duke? no seniors in their starting lineup. Now, I know that's going to change. They're not going to all be back. If you just look at it on paper and think, okay, who do you pick right now for next year? My goodness, no seniors.
And no deep coverage by St. Louis on that home run pass to Tony Akins. There's a deuce for Josh Fisher. First basket of the day, 57-33 Georgia Tech.
You've talked home run passes today. You've talked changeups. You've mentioned Busch Stadium. This is not baseball season yet, okay? We're in the heart of college basketball. We're 2 weeks away from conference tournaments beginning in March Madness. You're starting to throw in some baseball terminology on me.
I'm going to get a relief pitcher for you if you don't quit giving me a hard time. Muhammad, that basket, a half dozen for him. Pitchers and catchers have reported. 59-33.
You know what they're all doing when they're not practicing? They're watching college hoops right now.
Well, there's no doubt baseball players are big fans of college hoops, especially when those brackets come out.
There's your home run pass.
Well, you could call it a touchdown pass, too, if you want to live in the past a little bit.
Here we go.
You gotta love Johnny Cash. The man in black's the kind of guy who doesn't need sparkly outfits, synchronized dance moves. Johnny just bleeds every note till he brings the house down. I'm just saying, don't send a boy band to do a man's job. Ford F-Series Super Duty. Built to toe the line. Built Ford tough.
That's the way to get it done.
What is that? What is that?
Curling, an ancient Scottish ice sport, played with a 40.
Lewis here. Not a whole lot bowling for the home team. Georgia Tech with a bunch of southpaws. What's with all these left-handers?
Boy, firing them up, aren't they? As a result, defensively, you've got to get a right hand up every time a lefty's going to crank one. And they have been cranking them today, especially Lane and Akins. Done most of the damage from the perimeter. 5 of them on one team. That's only a baseball squad would have more lefties in the lineup. That's the only thing I'm going to talk about baseball today. 42 points out of the wrong-sided guys this afternoon.
Righties only have 17. Here's Ismail Muhammad. He will kick it into the corner. And, yep, Clarence Moore with the miss. Back on top. And a lean-in foul on Randy Pulley. That'll be his third.
It was amazing Cincinnati and Marquette, as well as they're playing right now and how high they are on the chart. Didn't they both begin the year unranked?
Yes.
And they have fought their way up through those polls and through all the voting. And Marquette's a club coming up later on after this one that is getting better. I talked about him Wednesday. I talked to Tom Crean. So my club's getting better on both ends of the floor from day to day in practice. That's a sign of a young club and a dangerous club come March.
3:20 to go. We got more basketball coming up for you next, including some Conference USA or Pac-10 action for you. At 7 on the day for Ismail Muhammad. B.J. Elder with the Georgia Tech foul. And St. Louis will shoot a couple now on Georgia Tech's 10th team foul of the half. How about the run Bobby Cremins had between 1985 and 1993? They went to the NCAA tournament every year. Paul Hewitt following in the footsteps. Bobby took him to a couple of Elite Eights, a Final Four in '90. They eventually lost to UNLV in Denver. A program with great tradition in Atlanta. And a refurbished Alexander Memorial Coliseum after the Olympics years ago. Very nice place to play they have. Right on campus there. Elder, tough shot. And the ball controlled by Jason Edwin of St. Louis here.
You and I head to Salt Lake after this one for Big Monday, so we're going to be right in the heart of the Olympics.
Did you get us those curling tickets yet?
Too hot of an item.
Couldn't get them, huh?
I'm going for the skeleton thing where they just sled down the hill at 80 miles an hour. And I figured out what we need to do with figure skating. Put everybody out there at once and just blow the whistle, and whoever's left standing, whoever does their routine, the last person standing wins the gold. Now that would be an event to watch. Think about it.
That could get physical. McHenry. Clark, Chris Brown. Loose ball. Nice play by Brown. Here comes Josh Fisher. 2-on-1. The bouncer. Edwin with the jam. That's a dozen for Jason. Leading St. Louis today. He has 12. Marquis Perry 8. Chris Brown 7. And that is it. 60-36 Georgia Tech. 2 minutes to go.
I'm sure Lorenzo will talk a lot to his club, Bob, about where was our passion for the game today? Where was the excitement? The excitement about having a healthy body and being able to get up and come and perform and get after someone. I mean, I just didn't see it from the opening tip to where we are now out of the guys in white. Georgia Tech was better in that area, and that's why they've got this lead right now.
John Saunders, Digger Phelps with our UBS Payne Weber post-game report. We will have a little time for that. And some more basketball to come after those proceedings. Clarence Moore will leave it off for B.J. Elder. He looks to penetrate. Billikens deflected over the baseline, and Georgia Tech will keep it. Winston Neal will come in. David Nelson, a couple of little used Yellow Jackets, getting some playing time on the road. The kids who practice every day and work hard. A three finally missed by Halston Lane.
Bobby, look at that battle royale tomorrow in the ACC that will determine maybe a lot of things, seeding and all kinds of important stuff happening in March. Maryland right now, Byron Mouton, his last 5 ball games, he's averaged 15 points, 6 boards. And how about Juan Dixon? He's 25 points away from being the first player ever in the history of the NCAA have 2,000 points and 300 steals. If you're the first player ever in the history of the game to do something, that you're pretty special. That's what that kid is.
Left-hander goes for John Seifert, who was the Montana Player of the Year as a high school senior last season. Paul Hewitt just wants to call a timeout to make a substitution. Not trying to rub anything in here. He'll get David Ewing in there, Stone Mountain, Georgia junior. And up next, we've got more basketball presented by UBS Payne Weber for you. Some of you get Louisville and Marquette, Conference USA. Arizona State and the Bruins, UCLA out there on the West Coast. Check your local listings for the game in your area, and ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Your keyword, ABC Sports.
Well, Marquette's going to be chasing Reese Gaines around for the next 2 hours. That's a guy right up there at the top of Conference USA in scoring.
Yeah, one of the top 3 in the league with Steve Logan.
You know what, Marquette's the club that they take away your strength defensively. They're not going to allow a guy coming in averaging 21 a ball game to get 21 on him. They're going to make you beat him in another area. I love clubs that do that to you, and Marquette's one of the better ones in the country this year in that area.
Edwin with a St. Louis deuce. Jason Edwin with 14 on the day. And we're in the final 10 seconds. 60-40. And maybe none too soon, quite frankly. Tip away at midcourt. And Georgia Tech's going to win it 60-40 on a very odd basketball Saturday afternoon here in St. Louis.
The quietest arena I've been in for some time.
Georgia Tech with the win improves to 11-15. St. Louis falls to 11-15. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. For Jimmy Dykes and our entire ABC crew, Bob Carpenter. That'll do it from the Savvis Center in St. Louis. John Saunders and Digger Phelps in the studio will rejoin you after these messages. Goodbye from